We are live and back for another edition of Ohio Sports Talk. Jordan, how the hell you doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. We got to recharge some batteries this weekend. We got to hang out, get some ideas and juices flowing. Unfortunately, Monday, so we had to get back to the grind of our regular life outside of our sports talk. But we're kicking ass. We're doing good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Excited to be here with you again. Obviously, another week. It was a good weekend for us. Nice to get together and spend that time together. Definitely needed that. So good, man. Glad to recharge the batteries with you. Glad to get out and have some drinks, have some conversation. It's always nice to get out and do that.
So I still got the left arm. The left arm can still deliver throws.
Yeah, we threw football for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and my arm was falling apart already. I don't know what it is, but the older you get, the less the shoulder gets warm. So it took a little while to get going, but it was really nice hanging out and doing all that together again. Really definitely appreciate those situations where we can get together. Jordan, anything you want to touch on before we dive into the show tonight?
I think anything else I got to say, I'll probably save towards the end. But I'm ready to let's dive right in. We got a big bag to get into.
Yeah. So, Jordan, let's dive into the Cincinnati Reds. They are shout out Tyler McGurk, Sports with a Slur. He's doing his own show now. Definitely appreciate him. Doing his show kind of off the back of ours, so definitely appreciate Tyler. But Jordan, we're in this situation. The Reds, we know they're not playing well. We know the team is not really headed in the right direction right now. So what are your initial thoughts before we get into some of the numbers and stuff like that for the Reds?
So looking at the series against the Dodgers, it's not going to show in the win column. But, and there's a good but here, we did see some improvements. We saw some improvements from starting pitching. We saw some improvements from Ellie Deli Cruz. He got some juices flowing more towards game one, but the starting pitching and some of the hitting consistency got there. We saw the bullpen completely blow it in game two. The starting pitching put us in a little bit of a hole, put us down 2 runs. But the Reds, they banded together. They got the bats hot at the right time. But then also the bullpen went cold. So that's just such a sore thumb right now because we're actually getting quality starts from our pitchers across the board, probably the last 2 series. And I'm talking in the now window. I know they've had their struggles in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But in the now window, during the last 2 series, we're getting some quality starts. But it's just not happening on the back end. The supporting pitching's not coming in, or we're getting a quality start, and the bats are just kind of there. And I'm waiting for the whole thing to come together so we can finally see kind of the Reds that we started the season with, which were kind of exciting, and the Reds that ended the year last year. We're not seeing it. I know coaching is a big thing. I know I'm going to let you take the wing on the GM and the coach, but that's been kind of my output the last 2 series.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It's hard being a Reds fan right now. It's really difficult. The team's not winning. We have one of the most exciting players in baseball, and we just can't get to that next level of being competitive. And you can see it with the fan base. The attendance at the start of the year, sky high. We're excited. Everybody's there. Everybody wants to be at the game. And then, a couple weeks later, we're in this. If we look at David Bell, Jordan, he's as a manager with the Reds, he is 352 and 403. That's a 466 win percentage for David Bell. Do you think that's good enough? Do you think that's good enough from our head coach?
No. Absolutely not. And that's going back to when we had some bigger hitters before the trades. We had some bigger hitters on the payroll that should have done better. And a lot of those guys that were shipped out prior to last season came down to our wins and loss columns and how much the company wants to spend. So, yeah, I think David Bell is a huge problem in that because he's had more talented teams and he's still not getting it done. So a cheap ownership, which is already hard to talk to and hard to get things done. And don't get me wrong, whether it's David Bell, Dusty Baker, or anybody that kind of steps into that role. I can go back all the way to the 2000s to Jerry Narron when he subbed as an interim head coach and got him to 500 and was subsequently fired 2 months later. So it's a roller coaster. So I don't know. Do you point the compass at ownership, or is it kind of David Bell? Because we did have bigger hitters before the trades, before the guys we let go and the contracts that were big, Castellanos and company that were all on hitters row for us at one point. That was David Bell's time to shine. So it really, yeah, I say yes. He's probably the main focal point problem, but I don't know who would be willing to step into the Cincinnati organization and help fix it.
Okay, so all right, here's a little spin back in time. When Castellini and his family bought the Reds, the quote was, he promised the Reds, "We're buying the Reds to win. Anything else is unacceptable." We have, during his ownership, the 22nd most wins in the league. We have 5 winning seasons out of 22 years. And we are only one of 7 teams not to make the championship series. To me, this team has failed under Bob Castellini. He has not lived up to the billing. He has not lived up to what he promised the Reds. He hasn't been willing to spend the money because I don't know if he has the money. I looked it up. They're not worth nearly as much money as I pictured they were. I think they're in the 400 to 500 million range. That's not a lot of money in comparison to other major league franchises. We're playing with less than a full deck, in my opinion. And it worries me for extensions for Elly De La Cruz, Matt McClain, some of these other guys. The money situation really worries me. And I think sooner than later, I would like to see them sell the team. I think it's the best for all of us. I think the team needs to be sold, and hopefully, we get an owner who's willing to do what it takes to win the games. That's what it takes. It takes ownership and your GM and everybody on the same page, everybody rowing in the same direction. And it hasn't always felt like that. And we have a family running our operation, and it still doesn't feel like we're all going in the same direction. Nick Krall, I don't trust him at all.
No.
He makes very incremental moves. He never does anything that really goes out and helps the team. And I think that's been a problem also. It's great having all these young prospects, but if they never get together at the same time and produce, why does it matter? It's just, we're just stockpiling prospects. We're not going out and getting major leaguers who could help us now when you could. There's been many opportunities last season. The Reds could have made a move at the All-Star break. They could have brought in some help, and they chose not to, and look how that ended up. So I feel like ownership has definitely kept the Reds very stagnant over the last 20 so years. Is there something you think the team could do besides firing David Bell? I think David Bell is very middle of the road in terms of being a manager. I think he's just okay. I think there's probably better managers out there. I don't think there's any team that would be beating down our doors if David Bell became available to get him as their head coach. And that's a problem for me. You want to have a coach that's in demand, and I don't think David Bell's that guy. Do I have a bunch of names off the top of my head? No. But I just, based on what I've seen, based on the people that we follow that are in the know for the Reds, David Bell is not the guy for this team. And I'm ready for this. It's been 5-6 years now?
Just about.
I think it's time to pull the trigger and get rid of him and move on.
And I do want to touch on something you did say. The Reds have one of the best farming systems in the league. Like you said, if we can't make the pipe dream of Castellini getting the hell out of town and selling the team, then we got to bring in a manager, like you said, that can look at our prospects. Dayton always plays top. Louisville's always in the running for where they're at. It's time to bring it together. So it's like you said, either we got to bring in a young mind that doesn't mind not getting paid big bucks in the beginning to see if that works, or we got to convince a veteran to, because I won't say throw the bag because this isn't what the family does.
No, they don't. We're not throwing the bag, unfortunately.
It's not. Ken Griffey Jr. was the third highest paid player on our payroll last year. I mean, it's just, and I get baseballs like that. Teams are going to be paying players to the end of time with some contracts, but I feel like it shouldn't be that way. We're the Cincinnati Reds. We're the big red machine. We used to be such a big history, and it's like ownership and management just doesn't. We don't play like it. We don't. You look at all the teams that are always in contention. The Yankees are singing about their praises from now to the end of time because they respect their history. The Red Sox the same way. They both had some downs as a franchise, but as soon as they're down, they smack right back up, and it's like the Cincinnati Reds should follow suit. Even if we can't throw the bag at players, we got to get the management team in. Bring in minds, bring in baseball brains. Really pick it down. I'm not saying we have to play Moneyball and kind of replicate what goodness gracious,
the Oakland A's.
The Oakland A's did many years ago. But at some point, you got to break the rules. You got to break the mold because the mold's not working. And I could go on and on and on and rant.
People also forget that the Oakland A's had 3 incredible starting pitchers, one of the best closers in baseball. But yeah, the Moneyball movie, I do understand that. I just think the Reds are stuck in a loop, and they're not going anywhere with what they have in terms of the GM and the coach. And in my opinion, they should be let go of together. It should be okay, maybe at the end of the season, that's what it is. I'm more inclined to make a decision right now. Why wait? Why continue a process when maybe we get a new voice in there with a lot of games left, Jordan? I mean, there's still, we're a couple games out of wild card magically.
4.5 games back from the wild card.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With 2 huge series started, it's a huge series against the Padres starts tomorrow. that to me, this series is going to dictate the rest of the year. And maybe I'm putting too many eggs in the basket, but I just feel like, playing against the Dodgers, they're one of the best teams. They're one of the highest paid teams. To show out, to win one and then lose one by a run in extra innings, the talent is there. It's got to be the voice. You got to bring in somebody that can squeeze, take it like a rag and just squeeze the frickin' talent out before these guys go make $400 million somewhere else. Like we've got to use the weapons that we have. It's just being underutilized. I think the rest days are messed up. We're resting big time starters at the end of series that we could potentially win. I understand they're afternoon games, but I feel like the rotation's completely off when you look at what he uses. We're starting guys that suck against left-handers that have no business being on a field.
We all suck against left-handers. That's the problem. This lineup's poorly constructed because of. Okay, then I know you're on your rant, but do you at all blame any of the injuries for some of this? Do you think injuries have piled up on this team? They've been unfortunate. In my opinion, they feel borderline cursed this year in terms of injuries. It's been really rough with the injuries. Matt McClain, you lose him before the season starts. Marte is on the juice. You lose pitcher Lodolo's back on the DL. You lose, really good ball players to injury. That definitely sets you back. So does any of that play a factor for you?
I would say 20%. I would say 20% talent, and you're paying managers to manage. So if you can't manage through it, and we're going to touch on another coach in Ohio here later, if you can't manage through injuries, then what the hell are you doing as a coach? It's the professionals. You pay bench players, you pay farm teams, to have guys on a roll. The guy that we let go, his name's slipping my mind, that we wouldn't pay and bring out of the fucking AAA.
Ford, he came back though, but he's stunk now. We brought him back, and now he stinks.
After he got released.
Yeah, we brought him back. Okay. But Pagan felt discomfort in his tricep. Spencer Steers day to day. Lodolo, like I said, 15-day DL. TJ Friedel can't stay healthy. Broke a bone in his hand on a hit pitch. Matt McClain's still on. He got cleared Friday to throw and run, which is great news, but that doesn't mean he's imminent for getting back to the ball club. Brandon Williamson is going to report to High A Dayton next week. So some guys are coming back around, but hopefully it's not too little too late.
No, I don't think it's too little too late until probably 2 weeks after the All-Star game.
Okay, that's fair.
But as I was saying, I'm putting a lot of eggs in this Padres series. They got to win the series, Doug. They have to shake this off. Whatever the hell this is, bad management.
They can't hit, man. That's not managing. They just can't flat out hit. I mean, look at these averages, Jordan. I mean, this is really, really, really bad. Ellie's hitting 256. Steer's hitting 224. Will Benson's hitting 191. Candelario's got his average up to 220. Remember when he was hitting 180?
Yeah.
India's hitting 219. Strand's hitting 190. Stevenson's our best hitter, and he's about as inconsistent as they come. He's hitting 273, but his at-bats are so low. Not so low, but he doesn't play every day.
Right.
It's just look how bad these guys hit the ball. They are terrible. And we don't have anybody to save us. Matt McClain's he can run and can throw. He's not going to come back and change the entire lineup. That, we don't have that guy walking through the door. Ellie's our best player by far. He leads us in average, home runs, on base percentage, hits, steals, everything besides RBI. It's just a lot for one guy to do, and he's not good enough and consistent enough to carry the offense for long stretches of time. And that's just what it is. Jordan, in my opinion, though, last thing, I would fire David Bell and Nick Krall sooner than later. And I think we should start, if we're going to redo all this, I think we do it sooner than later. We let one of the bench coaches finish out the year. We go out, and I know the Reds won't do this, but we get the best manager available. We pay the damn money, and we do what it takes to actually field a good ball club. I'm sick and tired of not having a competitive team in Cincinnati. We get a competitive team about one every 4 or 5 years. Last year, we got really lucky having they're a fun young team that fought their asses off, but we don't get that every year, and that's why you can't waste years of Ellie De La Cruz's career. You can't lose years off of Matt McClain. I know he's hurt, but you can't waste years off of Spencer. So you can't waste these years. I know you can play baseball a little bit longer, but as a fan, it freaking sucks, man. It feels like we're just waiting in the water and we're not going anywhere, and I hate that because it doesn't feel like management's going to do anything about it. No. Well, Jordan, we know we got a big series against the Padres starting tomorrow night. Maybe something clicks for these guys, and enough's enough, and they really start, getting after it. Shout out to Ken Griffey Jr. He's going to drive the pace car at the Indy 500. That's always cool. That's always a cool thing. Junior's one of the all-time greats, so great for him. But Jordan, let's transition though. Cleveland Cavaliers, JB. This is what I wanted in the picture because this is all JB knows what to do. The folded frickin' arms and bitching at the refs. That's all he can do. All right, Jordan. Why have the Cavs not fired JB Bickerstaff yet? What is going on? What is the thought process here?
All right, and this is just strictly talking to. Obviously, no, I don't have any big associations in NBA. Talking to other outlets today because I had half a day off, so I was busy on the hooks this morning trying to figure stuff out. And little stories throughout the day have leaked that Dan Gilbert's making some big boy pants comments. That's what I'll leave it as. Yeah. About being involved in the basketball personnel and being involved in decisions. And he just happened to make this comment when everybody's up for contracts. So that worries me, Doug. That worries me that if we're going to spend money on the players, I think he's going to cheap out and keep the yes man as a coach.
Oh, please no. Please no.
I that you asked my opinion.
I know.
This is outside looking in, because if you're going to bring in bigger voice players, if we're going to make these trades and we're going to potentially bring in a Brandon Ingram, we're going to potentially pair it with another star, maybe LeBron walks through the door of free agency. Dan Gilbert has to be in control, Doug. That's something we've learned since day one, since he's been through the door. And he's not going to bring in a coach to go along with these bigger voices. So, in my opinion, I think that's why JB is still here, because it's either we make if we make the personnel trades that we need, I think JB fucking stays.
You think Mitchell is okay re-signing with JB as the coach? I don't believe that. Not based on the stuff we've seen come out about how the team feels about the guy. There's no way he can still be the coach going into next year. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Coaching matters, Jordan. Coaching really matters in these playoff games, in these series, and we've seen it time and time again.
Yeah,
we're getting out coached every series.
JB's playing checkers, and the rest of the NBA is fucking playing, and that's his big problem.
Okay, so you think I read Dan Gilbert. He said I'm going to be more hands-on with the basketball operations, and that worries the shit out of me because I don't trust that guy. I trust him as an owner, but he's the same guy who said the Cavs would win a title before LeBron when LeBron left for Miami, and that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We had no shot to win a title without LeBron, and
Antoine James, our leading scorer. Hell no,
I know, but that's what I don't know how in touch he actually is basketball wise. But JB cannot be the coach. He just I'm ready for a change. I don't know if we're in the JJ Redick sweepstakes. I would assume we're probably not. I do think JJ could be a good offensive coach. I would love to have him maybe as a top assistant. But Chris Quinn from Miami, I would love to see him. He's the head assistant for Miami. He's head of player development. Miami develops the fuck out of their players. They always get the most out of their guys. David Adelman from the Nuggets, I think would be a nice bring in. And then a home run, Jordan, for me, would be Ty Lue, if we could get Ty Lue back from the Clippers somehow. But to me, JB is out of his depth come playoff time, and we look out of our depth a lot of times. I know injuries were a factor this offseason, but we were not going to beat Boston if we were healthy. We didn't have the coach. I don't think we didn't have the horses this year that we needed to get in place. But this offseason is going to be a big offseason, Jordan. I cannot stress enough that I think JB is the wrong person to be the coach of this team. You've been saying it. You've said it all year. You said it. You said it to start the year.
I don't disagree because I hated him 2 years ago when the Cavs reached the play-in, the first year of the play-in.
Yeah,
I despised him. And you heard me kind of touch up on that this weekend when we were catching up. I said that he didn't play his veterans that he needed to. Love or hate Kevin Love, he made terrible decisions with him. You can't be in an elimination game night in and night out and have a guy who has fucking championship experience on the bench, not even to come in for valuable minutes at certain points of the game. And we even saw that we saw that in the last two games. A guy who came off the bench, scored 24 fucking points, had 0 minutes in a previous game. That's what. Yeah. You see Isaiah Okoro go cold,
and he won't take him out. Won't take him out of the game.
Just rode him like a horse. Just keep whipping him until what? Until we lose. Then he goes cold in the elimination game, and Morris, come save us. No, Morris needed. I'm not saying he would have scored 24 points in a game before. I'm realistic. Shooters have nights, but you see a guy go even before he reached 2 for 12. The minute 2 for 8, you're like, hey, this isn't working.
You know what you can see, Jordan, though, with Okoro is the moment he stops taking that 3-point shot, he can't be in the game because he's scared. The moment he stops taking those open threes, he is scared, and the fact that JB can't see that enough, because then Okoro starts driving to the basket and he's throwing it off the backboard because he loses his confidence and he thinks going to the rim and trying to finish above somebody. He can't. He's a good athlete, but he's not a dunk on you type guy. So he tries to finish at the rim on bigger guys, and it doesn't work. The moment he stops shooting his 3 ball is the moment you have to take a core out of the game because he cannot. He has lost his confidence, and that's unfortunate because he's young and he showed us some flashes during the season. with some playmaking that me and you both commented on and said, wow, what if this is something? But then you come back down to reality and it's not something, because if it was, he could be he would rise and take that to the next level in a playoff series, and he can't do it. I don't think he's a bust. I just don't think he can be a starting forward in this league, and the Cavs severely lack a starting forward in the NBA right now. We need to make some adjustments. If maybe Dan Gilbert pulls the rabbit out of his ass and shows me something that I don't think he's capable of. But if I'm Dan Gilbert, I'm going all in on Ty Lue, and I'm going all in on signing Donovan Mitchell, and I'm moving Jared Allen, I'm moving Mitchell, I'm moving Okoro, and I'm trying to bring in some damn players.
That's the only thing you and I disagree on. I don't want to see Allen. I want one more year out of Allen.
But the offense is just better without them both. It's more free. It gives Mobley more space. I think it's more important because here's the thing: Mobley's more long term than Allen.
Mobley is 110% more long term than Allen, but short term, there are points in the season where just Mitchell just finds him, and other people and Strus just finds him with these gorgeous passes, and it's at the rim. He's attacking.
I agree.
He's plowing the road, and that's something we were so missing.
Mobley doesn't dunk on people like Allen. I totally agree. But I think Allen has good trade value too, and that's part of it, Jordan. I think Allen could bring us back a good player. And unfortunately, when you draft somebody third overall like we did Mobley, we are attached to Mobley, and he plays better without the crowd. So I think it helps Donovan Mitchell. In terms of getting to the rim, there's not as much, and it helps with floor spacing. The game is floor spacing now, Jordan. The game is floor spacing, and Allen and Mobley's getting better, but Allen can't space the floor. He's got a decent 18-footer, 16 to 18-foot jump shot, but you got to be able to hit a three at this point, and mid-range twos are kind of out of the in part of the game right now. So
the offensive rebounding, though, Doug, that's what we're. We
have
it when he got hurt.
I like Jared Allen a lot. I really do. But I also want to be more competitive further into the playoffs. And I think that's the way you have to go. And I think Allen has good trade value right now because he's coming off a really good season. I was on here. I told you he played like a top 5-6 center in the NBA.
I'd say no later than top 10. He played.
There's a reason Tyler would like Jared Allen to be the starting center for the Warriors. I get that. I totally get that. The Warriors don't have anybody that I think is valuable and could help the Cavs right now besides, Kuminga, maybe. But
I wouldn't split.
But I think we need to go a different direction for what the Cavs need. But Allen on the Warriors would probably be really damn good because him and Steph, and Draymond being able to, play with the ball and not be in the paint. I think that could help the Warriors too, but fuck the Warriors at the same time,
If he ever leaves TV. So we'll see.
No. Cavs have a lot going on, Jordan. A lot of decisions to make, a lot of important decisions, a lot of franchise-altering decisions. Does this team want to take the next step and be a championship contender? Does this team want to be a championship contender? Just then, T. Higgins has not signed his franchise tender yet. He cannot rejoin the team until he signs that tender. Jordan, quick little interruption. Does T. Higgins play for the Browns or the Bengals this year?
And you know what? You're gonna say it's still a pipe dream, but a couple hours ago, Justin Jefferson was not at any Minnesota facilities either. So that's something to watch. The trade's been talked about by both teams. Come on. They've had conversations. That's been confirmed.
I'm sure they have.
But I'm just saying, if you can't get these guys to budge,
imagine losing to the Browns with Chase and Jefferson. How rewarding would that be? Okay, Jordan. Let's transition. FC Cincinnati.
Let me answer your full question. No, I don't think he plays in stripes, Doug. One way or the other. Wow. I think T. Higgins is going to get shipped for something.
Wow. Okay. You don't think T. Higgins plays for the Bengals this year? Interesting.
Okay,
let's transfer to the other Cincinnati team, FC Cincinnati. Jordan, we've lightly sprinkled around this. We don't follow soccer, but we do appreciate good play, and we appreciate good teams in our state. FC Cincinnati, they are number 2 in the MLS right now. They are second in goal differential. They are on a 6-game winning streak. They are behind Inter Milan or Inter Miami. Obviously, that's Messi's team in the MLS right now. 6-game winning streak is pretty damn impressive no matter what.
Yeah.
Ayuk comes back if you care. Ayuk is a hell of a receiver. That's for damn sure. But FC Cincinnati, they're playing really good ball right now. What are your thoughts on those guys? Because I know you're a little bit closer to it than I am.
They're playing phenomenal. The only reason they gave up a goal on Saturday, it was actually a mistake by the FC player. Try to pass something back to our own goalie and it went in. So other than that, they threw a goose egg. Since the Columbus Crew game, especially since they got their revenge as an organization and as a coaching staff, they've got one of the best teams in the league, and they played well against Messi the first time around. So yeah. I'm extremely hyped for this to go forward. I really think these two teams are on a collision. I think it's going to be great for Cincinnati revenue, great for the Cincinnati fan base, which actually comes out in big numbers.
They do. They do great numbers for FC Cincinnati games. It surprises me how big soccer's became in our state.
FC Cincinnati, the last time I peeked at it was top 5 in attendance for the league. So you look at teams like LA, like that, much bigger culture, kind of closer to the grass of the different heritages and stuff like that. For Ohio being that big, it's been awesome. It's been really fun. I love that they've used Reds players. I love that Joe Burrow's gone out there and pulled the sword with Jamar Chase. So having all the sports teams really right next to each other be involved and kind of hype them up throughout the last 2 seasons has been something really to watch.
Jordan, let's see. They are 6th in average attendance right now at 25,000 people a game. That's a hell of a number for soccer in our state. That makes the Reds look bad. But yeah, so it looks like they play Toronto on the 25th. They are 9-3-2 right now. 9 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. Goal differential +8, and they have 30 points right now, 1 behind Inter Miami's 31 points. Something that we're going to be watching a little bit going forward. Obviously, exciting time for soccer in our state. And then not to forget about them, but the Columbus Crew, they're
struggling.
7th. They're currently 7th in the MLS. They are at 21 points, so decent ways behind Cincinnati, but shout out to Columbus Crew. They've been the OGs of the soccer world for us for a long time. Jordan, what else do we got before we got out of here today, man? I feel like we touched on a couple different things. We talked a little soccer, which we don't always do. We beat the drum to fire JB. We talked about the Reds' dysfunction in the ownership and manager. You got anything else for us before we get out of here today?
I was kind of happy a little bit NCAA football news. I was kind of happy that the Buckeyes get to play at Wrigley Field. That's something that I don't know. That's something I might look into some tickets, Doug. I mean, Wrigley's
to watch us kill Northwestern.
To watch us kill Northwestern, but Wrigley's a beautiful place. It might be a little up on the experience, just kind of the history there. So I think definitely for all actually both teams of athletes and coaches, I think that's going to be a special game, at least atmosphere-wise. So I think that's really cool. We kind of touched on that story on our Twitter, our X account, whatever you want to. But I was happy to see that.
And then I saw the Ohio State men are doing the kickoff in Vegas against the Texas Longhorns. That's going to be a fun-ass game. Yeah. That'll be an up and down battle. Good to see Diebler getting the Buckeyes back on that national stage. We've been missing that for Ohio State men. And then with Dayton Flyers, looks like Deron Holmes is probably going to stay in the NBA draft. I did a draft piece on him for YouTube. So that was fun. Yeah, like a 15-minute video on Deron Holmes. So if you do like the Dayton Flyers, give that a check out. Flying with Doug on YouTube. And then Jordan, us, guys, we're on YouTube, we're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Facebook is a Sam cesspool. I have no idea how Facebook works. TikTok now, we're trying to expand the brand. We had 59 people at our peak in here tonight. We appreciate every one of you guys. We appreciate all the retweets, the likes, anything we can get from you guys. We really do appreciate it. Shout out to Tyler tonight for dropping in some comments. Yeah, guys, we're just, keep plugging away. Thursday night, it's another night. Back at it. Jordan, you got anything to say before we hit the end button?
I'm going to put together we may or may not be on the air on Monday. You and I have
Memorial Day will probably be off.
To me, I am doing my best. We're going to bring in some guests on Thursday.
Yep. You are working hard.
Early Memorial Day show here on Ohio Sports Talk. We're gonna obviously still do our thing and talk some sports, but we're gonna kind of reflect on what Memorial Day means to us, our families, bring outside opinions, and maybe a big guest or two. So I think that's going to be one of our biggest shows we've ever done. It's our first Memorial Day show for Ohio Sports Talk. Me being a veteran and Doug's family supported me through my entire career. We're going to have a special one. So really tune in if you can. Get out, check us out, even if it's for a few minutes. We're gonna have some good clips. We're gonna have some good stories, and it's gonna be a hell of a show.
Yep. So that'll be 9:00 on Thursday. Little Memorial Day recap. Mix in a little bit of sports there. Should be a fun show. Jordan, that's all for us tonight. This has been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Doug. That's Jordan. We will see you guys Thursday.